Happy National Poetry Month, everyone. I'm glad you're here tonight. My name's Sydney Koppelmeyer. I'm the executive director here. I just wanted to thank you all for spending your time with each of us tonight. I feel like this is such a creative space. It's a safe place for everyone to share, and this is one of my favorite things we get to do here at the Iredell Arts Council. All of our poets are local. You're about to be just immersed in an incredible amount of local talent, and I hope what I always get out of tonight is we're more alike than we are different, and I feel like we all go through the same things, and it's just so validating to hear everyone's voices tonight. So, okay, so we're gonna have Miss Amy Freeze kick us off, and I hope you guys will clap and snap for our poets, because I know they want to hear it. They work hard on these poems. So, all right, Amy?
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'm kind of old school. I have a notebook. My daughter will be up in a minute. She's reading off her phone, so she'll bring us back to this year. All right, so the first one that I have is called A Backyard Trampoline. You could always find us there, Crystal, the only Jewish girl I knew. I didn't understand why she sat in the hall while the rest of first grade wrote letters to Santa. And in the 7th grade, I pictured her as Anne Frank, knowing I would have Crystal in my attic to keep her safe. Wendy, her mom, cut all of our hair because she had the only stylish chair in town. Her chair was in this little yellow shop off their house, the best place for sleepovers, watching movies parents didn't allow, and by the end of the night, one girl was always locked in the bathroom. Lindsay sang all the songs. She was going to be famous one day because she sang gospel on our local radio station. Her mom served barbecue at the place near the light. And me, just a tomboy, nobody at all. But on the trampoline, swirling honeysuckle sap on our lips, everything moved and buzzed and never stopped. The earth dizzying, our young bodies bouncing, front flipping, landing on feet, the energy of our static hair landing on end. But what goes up must come down. But that didn't scare us back then. We just laughed, because we knew we were on our way back up. The bottom doesn't last forever. We weren't alone near the ground, and we knew we could always jump off the edge. The next one I have is called The Loudest Noise. A lot of it's from being a kid and from all different stages of being a kid. Loud noises started early. Ruger, our dog aptly named for the rifle that shot him, would suffer no more. Later, it was Lisa the Cocker Spaniel who suffered, zapped, beaten, ringing against the chain-link fence, body slammed and dropped in the country. On Saturdays, you could hear the jack ratcheting a car lift to siphon the oil into a drip pan. The red rusted vice handle squeaking as it spins, the boat motor humming in a soda fizz. You could hear a morning game of horse or the tennis ball pop off of tight strings. But in high school, it was high alert for heavy footsteps on basement stairs, angry vacuuming before sunrise, and the loudest silence. I would whisper to Jesus, a God I didn't believe, and scratch goodbye notes and mixed cocktails of pills and panic. While I screamed in a pillow, he screamed not good enough and ungrateful. Sometimes it was the whoosh of air when a hand was raised or the click of ammo in the revolver. In the end, it was I'm sorry, but it will never be the loudest noise. The next one is about a pottery class that my best friend and I took. Shout out to Create Studio here in Statesville. We took the hand throwing pottery class, the wheel throwing pottery class, and made me think about the scripture she and I had talked about from Jeremiah and then one from Ephesians. So I'm going to read those first, just in case you're not familiar, and then I'll go into the poem. But it's from Jeremiah chapter 18, verses 1 through 4. It says, "This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord. Go down to the potter's house, and there I will give you my message." So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at the wheel. But the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands. So the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as he seemed best to him. And then Ephesians 2:10, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things he has planned for us long ago." The potter knows it's spoiled. Wedged and thrown off center, it wobbles as he cones up and down. Baptized by handfuls of water, elbow deep in the flesh of clay, the potter knows this one can't be saved. You, O Lord, are the potter, and I am the clay. Rework me as it seems good to you. Center my heart closer to yours. Seal this clay with the fire of your Holy Spirit, and don't let me crack in the kiln. For you say, I am a masterpiece, made new after all. And then the last one I'm going to share tonight is for a professor, my college professor, Janice Fuller at Catawba College. So you're probably familiar with Catawba since it's just down the road. She was my English professor, creative writing professor when I was there, and actually was probably my best friend in college, which is a little strange, but she was my mentor, really good friend. She passed away just a few months back, so just wrote this for her. It's called Weeds. Scientists call it a henbit dead nettle. My mom called it a weed. You've seen them springing up beside sidewalks, creeping between concrete cracks. Those purple flowers with the concave petals, the tubular blooms, the scalloped lacy leaves, and the square peach fuzz stems. I ran as fast as 3-year-old legs would carry me, with a fistful of henbit dead nettles for my mom. She complained they brought ants in the house. Still, I begged to put the bouquet in a vase. I didn't know it was a shot glass. Scientists say it was even present in the wilderness at Sinai. Moses, with the 10 Commandments, flattened the weeds with his flip-flop feet as he burned with anger watching the people make a god in their own image. He smashed the tablets to pieces the way my dad used to slam doors, spilling vase water onto the windowsill, driving away for hours, not knowing if he's coming back. My question was always, where did he go? And now I wonder if it should have been to whom. Crying alone at the window, my mom long gone to bed, I was used to pleading like Moses, just one more chance, God. The truth is, it may have a name, but no one notices a weed. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Amy. Thank you. Okay, we have a bit of a pop-up poet, and it's actually Amy's daughter, Molly. So, Molly, would you like to come?
Hello, everybody. All right, so I just started writing poems a couple years ago, and I always try to focus on mental health as a key aspect of my poems because that's something that's really personal for me, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and I feel like it just needs more representation. So here we go. My first poem is called The Listening, and it's about loving somebody who is in a crisis. The tornado you are seeing has funneled its way into my very being. I spend my wretched days in passionate wishing my tortured mind will go back to how it was before the listening. I do not feel safe, even in my own oyster shell, because of your lamenting. The death, the murder, the fires, loving a killer without even consenting. I'm honored to be your vault. Give me your pain for safekeeping. But my mind is heavy and my shoulders sag like old skin because of the listening. I want to help you, but your luggage could collapse my bridge. If I do not let you rest on me, it would be an awful miscarriage. But the poison I drink for you is sickening. You're a drowning sailor dragging me down with you, yet I'm still listening. I can be your rock, keeping you grounded when thoughts overwhelm. When you drift away from the world, I will guide you back to the right realm. The fleeting moments I see that old buried smile glistening is what makes me thankful for the listening. Okay. My next one, it's about Disney villains. When I was a little kid, I would always watch Disney movies, and I would always find myself really interested in the villains and their origin. And my mom would always ask me, she's like, Molly, why do you think about the villains so much? What is it about the villains that's so special to you? And I would always say, well, I mean, I feel like if somebody loves them enough, they might change and be good. So I wrote a poem about that. Cruella, Mother Gothel, Jafar, and Gaston, Shan Yu, Yzma, Ursula, and Prince John, cast in the light of darkness and malice, so mean, heartless, cold, and callous. Children grow with that lesson woven into their minds. The only people worth our time are innocent and kind. People whose hearts are torn and minds worn are miscreants who shouldn't have been born. But what would happen if we shifted our logic? What if these creatures aren't so demonic? Maybe they're in pain and broken and scared. What if they needed attention because the people they loved never really cared? What if Gaston was never loved and needed a companion, and Mother Gothel imprisoned Rapunzel out of fear of being abandoned? What if we killed Bambi's mom to feed our children, and in the process we tricked ourselves into oblivion? Maybe some people aren't as evil as they seem. Maybe we observed their mistakes and took them to the extreme. Maybe some people worth our time aren't as pure as a dove, and maybe the villains in our lives just need a little love. Thank you. So my last one, it is kind of, I tried to make it as uplifting as possible because, who doesn't need a little encouragement some days? So it's called Lion Tamer, and it's about mental health and coming forward with those struggles. At first, I wanted it all to stay hidden. Talking about it seemed taboo and horribly forbidden. Shoving all my skeletons in a closet to protect the comfort of others. But I soon decided that the opinions of outsiders wouldn't influence my druthers. I'm a wanderer, searching for balm in the dark corners of my mind, and people who don't see me for me won't make my personality confine. I've dealt with far too much for opinions to drag me down. I've come too far to let myself forget the value of my crown. I am a lion tamer, calming the visions that roar. Throw me into any ocean, and I will never not swim to shore. Shove me into the furnace, for I'm not going to be alone. There's another in the flames, making me triumphant as dawn. I am a music maker, composing symphonies of pain, until no one will ever see us as being insane. Beyond our toughened exteriors, our hearts are as intricate as butterflies. The world is better with you in it, and you're beautiful in God's eyes. Thank you.
Wow, great job, Molly. I know, I think I was here your first performance at the Arts Council maybe 6 months ago. So I so admire you guys' bravery and to share vulnerability and to talk about mental health on a stage. Oh my gosh, that's so brave. I really admire you guys. So the next poet I'm going to introduce is Ted Jackins. I posted, I don't know, so I'm behind our social media. So I posted a video because I really enjoyed one of your poems you shared with us last spoken word. And it got a lot of great feedback. So I love that it got some attention that for those who weren't here that night. So yeah, so by the way, we're recording, we're live, and we'll sometimes use those videos for social media. And if you guys ever want your performance, just reach out and we can give you that for your social media if you'd like. Okay, so Ted, you ready?
Yeah, well, we keep on with the theme tonight. As I was putting poems together for this show and for the collection of poems that I'm working on with a publisher right now, the theme seems to be depression, death, disease, just, because I've dealt with that a lot too. So the things that I'm going to be dealing with, talking about tonight and reading, all deal with that loss of friends that I've lost recently, and depression and all of that. So I'm going to start that off with a poem about something that people seem to be talking more about, which is adult loneliness. And this is about not seeing your friends as much as you'd like to as an adult because you're busy or what have you. This is called The People You See at Funerals. The thing no one prepares you for is the loneliness of adulthood, as friends scatter like ashes in the wind, meeting once every year or so at wakes or weddings, and that friendship sits on a shelf in the back of a closet like your best funeral/wedding suit, a little lived in, but that doesn't make it mean any less, as it's taken out and shown sunshine and love on those rare occasions, how it fits just the right way, as if no time had passed at all. And this one is called Rust Belt Death Poem, and it is for my friend Brian Fugit, who, if you're tapped into the online poetry community of the last 20 years, Brian was behind a lot of the stuff we're seeing now. He had a magazine called Zygote in My Coffee that I was that was my top tier. If I could just get in that. And I did, and I became friends with him, and he recently passed away very suddenly, so I wanted to write something for him. So this is called Rust Belt Death Poem. A star flamed out in the Ohio sky where poets screamed their songs into the early spring dusk, whose verses they ripped from the tear-stained pages of this 3 a.m. letter never sent, the air thick with the fluorescent ink and detritus of my convalescence, too weak with illness to grieve, floating on a combination of cold medicine, cannabis, and caffeine, and I just know that you're out there somewhere laughing, finally getting the punchline to the great cosmic joke. Midwest poets are built different, and the real joke is I thought you'd outlive us all, and I'd be able to hug your neck once in this lifetime, maybe share a spliff or 3, but life ain't fucking fair, and the joke isn't funny anymore. In the end, there are no survivors, so I'll practice random acts of poetry and be a beatific dandy of the heart, a dancing Ginsberg sunflower swaying in the rain-sick rhythm of the afternoon breeze, posing posy as I fish zygotes from my broken coffee cup. Am I the first one to drop an F-bomb? Okay, good. I mean, sometimes, I was talking about this with my therapist at one point, that sometimes there's just not another word, I mean, and I just, this last poem is a list poem called Depression Is, and by list poem, I mean that each line corresponds to answer the question asked by the title. It's a little bit long, but I basically wanted to illustrate like 24 hours in the day of a depressed person. So hopefully I got that. Depression is making coffee at 1 a.m. on a weeknight, chain smoking half a pack in a sitting, talking shit on the internet, accidentally getting too high on the cannabis to regulate the anxiety chaser that always comes with, talking to your wife at length about anything but your feelings, hyperfixation, 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 dwelling on your own personal doom, getting stuck, sitting in your pajamas for days on end, forgetting to eat until you feel sick, overeating as a result, getting sick from it, talking shit on the internet, making 1,000 different plans, both creative and personal, but only carrying out a handful because, you know, depression is the veritable monkey on your back, the voice in your head, the devil on your shoulder, the knife in your back, the thorn in your side. Oh, a Morrissey reference, how original. At times swinging to the for the fences, so beautiful and burning bright, and then you later crash and burn, a flaming husk of your former grace. How fittingly tragic, how utterly ironic that everything that fuels the art also guarantees a widowmaker at 50, as you burn the candle at both ends and in the middle too. That's what fuels you to build while you still have breath in you, because the deal with depression is one way or the other, it gets you in the end. Because depression is also poor habits, addiction, bad diet, and a heart which murmurs, and a sleep schedule that would make a vampire wince. So you'll blaze like a dying star in the northern sky, because depression is also knowing your way around a dramatic exit. Stage right.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ted. Okay, so briefly I wanted to talk to you guys about the rebrand the Iredell Arts Council is going through. Ted is taller than me. The Iredell Arts Council is going through. I don't know if it's ever been done. So we are doing a massive public survey, and you can find that survey link on that bulletin board out in our lobby here. And I really hope you guys will take that survey for us. I've pulled together a committee, and we're going to start looking into what do we want the Arts Council to be? What do we want it to sound like and look like? And where do we want to get involved? So if this is your first time in the Arts Council grounds, that means you can still take that survey. I would love to hear a newbie's perspective and how you heard about us and things like that. So please, if you don't mind, you can find it online as well, but it also there's a QR code in our lobby. Okay, our next poet is Miss Natalie. Natalie's someone you just see around town. She's got a lot of, I don't know, I remember you've opened up for Juneteenth one time. I just feel like you have such a great presence here, and I don't know, I just so admire your sunshine that you bring to the stage. So welcome, Natalie.
I really didn't count number 4 as me right now. So my name is Natalie Ramos. My stage name is Trinilicious. I am from Trinidad and Tobago. So I've been doing poetry. I'm a publisher. This is my book. So I do a lot in the public, and I'm going to do a few new poems that I wrote. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So my first poem tonight is called The Beauty Within. Reason behind it, I was speaking to one of my friends on the phone, and she's so beautiful, and she was just complaining that I'm not pretty, you know, like, yeah, you're beautiful inside out. And a lot of us, you know, we walk around, you know, with doubt on what we look like, but beauty goes both ways. So after I got off the phone, I wrote a poem. So, the beauty within. She said I'm not pretty. In my eyes, I seem flawed, like a long-lost peasant trying to enter heaven's door. He looked at her and smiled, with tears rolling down his face, and said, "My dear lady, you were born with natural beauty and warm felt grace." She quickly grabbed her arms as she tried to hide away the scars, the empty, broken vessels that has left its marks behind. He bent over, kissed her gently, and whispered softly in her ear, "Your scars are your tattoo, and it's God's ways to show you that he cares." Then with shock, she clutched her stomach because a barren girl she was, who could not bear any children or fill a man's heart with love. He said, "This world is evil, and yes, Satan has had his way. But if you keep your obedience, I promise to bless your womb one day." And with that, her cheeks lit up like a diamond in the sky, because she knew she trusted him and that Jehovah would never lie. So she said she'll be a good girl and will not commit any more sins if he walks her through the process and teaches her to embrace the beauty within. Thank you. So this poem I actually write on work today. I was like, okay, the beauty within is beautiful, but I need to liven it up, and I did not want to do the first time I got drunk. So I was like, okay, let me work with spring. So, so my meaning of spring is, this stupid pollen really is not going away. I was walking down the street, and there was pollen on my feet. I tried heading to the bar, and pollen and bird poop was on my car. This stupid pollen really is not going away. I was getting ready for my date, and that damn pollen got me late. Okay, guys, I laugh a lot. You all are killing me. It was all inside my ear, my breeches, and my hair. Wow, this stupid pollen, it ain't going away. So when I thought it was all done, that pollen decided to have some more fun. Because written out in the blue was the words, "I know you're mad, but I still love you." So I guess this silly pollen dust really is here to stay. Okay, back to depression. This next poem is called "New Life Conquers New Beginnings." And this was a heading. I went to a new church in Rock Hill, and this was the pastor's headline. And I said, you know what, I think I can do something with this. So this is what I got out of it. This life we live in, it ain't no game. So why do you constantly complain? You got your hands and fingers too. So what the hell is wrong with you? I saw the other day a no-feet man bragging about his master plan. There was a girl stranded on a boat. She took that time to write her a bestseller book. And what happened to the dude who couldn't find love? He formed a relationship with his Father above. So you see, yes, poverty is bad, but you have a 2-course meal and still you're mad? Your provider gives you everything you need, but because of your selfish ways, you get caught up with greed. You lust over your brother's wife and try to take your life with a butter knife. So quick to give up. I'm not crying, I promise. Because you're dung and weary. But the Lord gave you his son, the virgin. The Lord gave his son to the Virgin Mary. This is the month to give praise and thanks and not worship a government whose laws doesn't stand a chance. So when you think that your shit stinks, take a few minutes to ponder and think, because it all can vanish with just one blink. Okay. And I'm going to end it off with this is something I start working with. It's called a poem, which is a poem and a song in one. So it's this poem is called The Dream, and in Spanish is El Sueño. So this is how it goes. I used to lay down by the stream. Yes, writing was my only dream. Upon my life it will depend. The pen was my only true friend. But one day it came to me. Life was nothing that it seemed. Again the tragedy will strike. I'm battling a constant fight. From being poor I rose to wealth. It was the best feeling I felt. My kids, they look at me with pride. Oh, I can see it in their eyes. A classic moment I can feel. Oh yes, these poetries are so real. So don't you let your dreams just melt away again. And never let yourself be led astray again. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Never disappoints. Okay, the next poet heard about us through word of mouth, which is my favorite thing, guys. If you guys have fellow poets that you want to maybe bring to our spoken word night, I think that's just the dream. I feel like we've built such a strong community here. And so the next poet I'd like to introduce is Mr. Stephen Rowland. Welcome. I think it's his first time here.
Thank you for having me. Natalie, I doubt you recognize me. You remember? Okay. You might want to forget, huh? Hello? Okay. I do appreciate Sydney, and I appreciate everyone that's come out here tonight. And so what I'm about to do is introduce you to pieces of my heart. When I was a child, well, the last time I ever did anything like this was 7th grade, a couple years ago. I was, this first poem, after much consideration, I believe, began when I was actually a child. I couldn't remember if it was before dinner or after dinner, but I was watching the news, and they were showing pictures of Vietnam, the dead and the dying. And I decided I needed to go in a different direction. So there was a movement at that time. I was born at the tail end of it, but it was peace, love, and freedom. And so what I did over the years, I began to define for myself hippie. And so I present to you a poem named Hippie. There is a state of mind full of hope and always kind. Peace is the desire, sharing secrets of life. Some experience enduring pain. At the end, he welcomes his own. Hippie is precious. This one is begotten, not as the leaf, fallen and soon forgotten. Breaks the chain of oppression, heals the beaten, clothing the naked, feeds the stranger. Be wise as the serpent and gentle as the dove, the cause of his own. Hippie is content to be. Burdens do not worry, for this one is truly free. Having eyes to see, everything is given, establishing the gift, the gift of life, the promise to all people. Hippie has come to take away the strife. Pardon me. That's all of that one. This is the second poem came out of an assignment in my first writing group. And I think I wrote it more through introspection. Looking back at my past, I began to realize that I was making my past a lifestyle or a guide. And so I considered, before I wrote it, I had to consider, what do we use maps for? We use a map to avoid many different pitfalls, stumbling blocks, but we mainly use a map to get to where we're going in a timely and an efficient manner. So, I give you in need of a map on this journey of adventure and peril, in need of a map. Decisions are highways, choice the streets. Memory tends to name avenues traveled. Individuals are the nation, or every nation, the cities and towns, in need of a map. Having become lost, a wandering shadow in a shadowed land, seeking to know friends, only to find cold and callous. When you happen across the poor and forgotten, be kind, lend a hand. Mercy is the essence of the promised land. Lives are the map and thoughts are direction. So let the vehicle always be driven with a sober mind and compassion. One of my favorite subjects in my entire life is freedom. Now, it takes a while to understand freedom because it's not a word to be defined, it's a lifestyle. It is life. And one thing I can tell you, that time did not make this boy into a man, but it was practicing and learning responsibility that will. The name of this poem is a Song of Freedom. Freedom keeps the few with nothing to lose. The life to cherish. She is every breath, every heartbeat. When the mind is free, her sweet melody moves the one who sees. Freedom is life, and life is harmony. Decide for oneself where to dwell, how to live. One must own responsibility. Good and evil, being full of thanks and enduring the pain. Fiercely protect freedom's promise. Now the free can begin to grow, to learn and to grow. And wisdom is justified of all her children. I wrote this next poem, and when I wrote it, I didn't know the how, the where, or the why. Okay. But it once again, it created, or it caused me to introspect. And I began to wonder, where does all this heartache come from? You know, there's many answers, I believe. But I discovered with me there was only one answer. And my heartache comes from unfulfilled desire. And a lost desire always leaves in its wake a yearning to catch the wind. Gazing into her heart, the inspiration is new heavens and earth. In the dawn, she'll rise, depth of morning skies, echoes in her eyes. Her breath I must breathe, the pulse in this heart. Minds embrace to know, living in the moment, together we grow. This pain and anguish giving birth to life, desiring to be in the gentle heart of her loving mind. It might be easier to catch the wind. Okay. You know, I remember back to a child, and I might not have understood what it was, but it's called influence. And it's all around us, and it's constantly, sometimes it's like a bombardment, and sometimes it's like a breath of fresh air. But what I discovered about myself was that if I allowed outside influence in without proving that it's good for me, that I was sowing the seeds of madness. If it ain't me, someone may help, please. No need to do a thing. Allow me to wallow in misery. Probing life, desiring to perceive. Am I free, or is this slavery? Ain't looking for guidance. Being acquainted with pretense. Keep your tired sympathy. Forget all my failure. Will you make it succeed? I can't be strong if it ain't me. Life is being torn. Into fear I am born. These blue eyes are weary, full of bitterness, of all that is seen. Accepting theory without question, the soul is made weak. Harvest fruit is scorn. Be aware, life sets free. Few will drink this cup. I can't be strong if it ain't me. A fleeting glimpse through the curtain rent of the evil world, some are wayfarers, a miscreation. Love, love, peace, and freedom appear as if three. Life bears them as one. Must be emotion, lust of the fleshly eyes, tempting pride of life. Waiting, I am waiting to hear my song. Esteemed are flowers in spring. I can't be strong if it ain't me. Vengeance is best served in being oneself while confidence blooms. Appearance, some claim, is certain to suffice. My will is so thin, like a stuffed string. Foreclosure awaits. I can't be strong if it ain't me. This last one, in the 80s, there was a band called In Excess, and I was listening one day, and this lyric captured my heart and my mind, and has refused to let it go ever since. That lyric is, we all have wings. Some of us don't know why. And through much, once again, introspection and discovery, I learned that my life is like a stream meandering on the new ground, seeking the path to follow. The wonder years. As I remember those muggy nights, in our attic bedroom, a fan stirring the air, remembering the days, believing you care, the security of the family has become so scarce. Perhaps delusion or a child strapped to an electric chair, swinging from a noose in wildest of nightmares, a pawn overpowered by the dominating queen, clinging to morals and confused standards, causes demands forever until my father, his loving promise whispers in my ear, you are a butterfly, and butterflies are free, free to fly away. Wings play on tears a different melody when not threaded with sorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. That was beautiful. Well done. Thank you. Okay, our next poet is Miss Christy Darling. Welcome, Christy.
Thank you. I can't see anything. There you are. So I'm so excited to be invited back. This is a fun time for me. I'm working on a collection of poems, and the working title is Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll, and Other Things I Want to Tell You About. So as I read a couple of these, you figure out which chapter it's going to go into, okay? So my poems are basically true stories. Most everything I've either lived or imagined, you know, the way we imagine things. This is called Walking into Jamaica. After laying hot the morning aside the whitewashed bowl of the salted pool, balancing the emerald sea beside, we left our naked shadows in the noonday hours, our breasts too pale to stay so long. The sun burned our turning skin like razors splaying fruits. From Blue Harbor we climbed round to the jungled edge, sliced with green slashing blades of palm and fern, painted drench of reds blooming between tangled vines, belayed on poles of knuckled bamboo. Sundogs float above the path, sectioned from the wild by fragments of my limy marl walls. Cut light like cut cloth covers the North Shore's risen coast. Cross-hatched with fronds, blue coffeed mountains hold the road narrow and steep. We're watched from screenless windows louvered in the white wood tin-topped houses that hide in the slats of the hill. Stone and board and umbrella-skirted hibiscus funnel us winding up and up to abandoned fire-flying courtyards and round again when all the mysteries are seen. Walking toward a small cocoa face and fast white grin, we smile on her singing and mirror her stare. A grim, age-edged, lace-torn dress shades slender, ashen feet in step on the dusty path, and raised, tired hands hold her supper pot in balance atop perfect black braids. The reggae simply asks, is this love? Is this love? Is this love? And then the rest of the poem isn't printed on the next page, she said shamelessly. I have to tell you, I've been working on printing this thing for a week. This is the last red pencil copy of my collection. Damn. That word's going to come up again, folks. Because the ending. Okay, I'm going to start over. Watch this. Okay, this is called If I Spoke With You. I'm going to check and make sure the end is on here before I start and waste all of our time. Okay? One page, we got it. If I spoke with you. So if I spoke with you now, talked beyond the eye-rolling communication of misremembered fatal feelings, arrowed sharp and cold, poisoned way beyond the hot injection screamed from our centers and our throats. What if we spoke just one micro piece at a time through the handheld pipe of peace, sharing what we know is true, that we really are just grains of sand on the beach, our facets outnumbering the stars above, plus the muffled planets that can't be heard, and all the suns caught on fire without a prayer of what could heal us, except, perhaps, for some speaking now, unbalanced, unflinching, like vibrating higher into each other's eyes, the same iris waves as infinite pairs of humans do, each night struggling to hear just each other. Okay, so this is uplifting. And it has an end. This is called Death Like We Know What It Is. Breath by simple breath, the cinema of our life continues. Blink and flashpot neurons sizzle me, stab behind my eyes, thrust a thorny rose down my throat, tighten icy skin, the nape of my neck projects the idea of you below the ceiling, above the roof, not cleaning gutters, not nailing shingles, but floating off, looking back to trimming the hedges, setting the lamppost, our branch swollen after too much rain, dogs sniffling in and out of this house, decades of leashes and kibble and bones. We speak lightly of death, together, apart, side by side, or not, like we know what it is. Natural, inevitable, understood. And we smile one day, to die is all. Rewind fast, loud with intention, breathe that scene back to the real. Here I am balanced, bare feet on the floor, slippery with wisps of dog hair, broken bowls scattered under the table, wet rags not drying, broom handle connection grounding me like lightning to the floorboards of your father's home place. It's daylight, even in the closets and cupboards, mugs set upended, waiting for my center to unspool the film, stop the projection of you gone, slow the movie, blacken the credits that scroll. What the fuck was that? Okay, this one's about my pregnancy. Are you ready? And it has an ending. This is called Starlight to Bake the Seed. I must have felt like a pastry to you, a fetal dough wrapping your icing of vernix and potential, kneading you into being. Tandoor belly roasting skinny legs origamied beneath your bottom, a pleated transformation that grew toes, crafted as we are from the concoction of our being after ovum and fertilizer collide, gasping from one climax, maybe two, rolling over, spoon withdrawn, and starlight to bake the seed rushes in. Zygoted diploid root to your rising stem, leafy reaching arms with hands for flowers, skull like a walnut, enclosing eons of spices and song, pushing heated breath into you. Can I do one more? Okay, since the first one was a screw up, I'll do one more. This is called Diving into the Blue-Green. Since coffee, trying to decide, let me start over. Since coffee, trying to decide, leap off this cliff into the sea, or tell you I need you to touch me. Fearing the leap doesn't ache like my memory of you aches. Dissolving into the blue-green is yes. I'll practice stepping off. The teacup hits the floor, the kite dives headfirst upside down, the string burns across my palm into my solar plexus, crashing like separation. Impact. My pulse misses its beat. Say it. I want to be captured by your hands, you breathing up my thigh, fingers tracing the crook of me, your mouth wet on me all again. I could just ask. Invisible hand at my back is warm. I collapse like a wave, like a spill. My heart rings out, sticky around my feet. Too much thinking. Step over the mess. Jump. Good job.
Right, give it up for Christy. Christy, you'll have to come back next spoken word and finish that poem because we need to know how it ends. Okay. Before I introduce my next poet, I wanted to talk to you, our next poet. I want to talk to you guys about the street concert coming up on May 17th. Who's heard about our street concert? Okay. So this is our third time doing the street concert. It's an annual street concert. It's going to be on the street, on Court Street. Down here, we're going to have Karaba, which is the lead singer is actually from West Africa. And I was reading about him, and part of his family's role for decades and generations is the keeper of the stories for their community in West Africa. So he's such a beautiful natural storyteller, and he is telling his stories through song. And he actually teamed up with a bunch of musicians who studied at Duke University, and they studied like contemporary classical music and it's this really cool fusion. You've got to listen to them. It's this really cool fusion of modern, funky soul and then some West African beats, and it's just so much fun. It's gonna be such a big. It's gonna be. I call it a big fat party. There's gonna be food trucks. There's gonna be art vendors. We're gonna have our local Pride organization there. We're gonna have the NAACP organization there. A couple other arts organizations. Josh Dickens is gonna have his makerspace there. So it's just a really great celebration. Arts, bringing people together. What brings people together better than food and good music? So I hope you guys can be a part of it. It's May 17th. It starts at 5 p.m. Okay, I want to introduce my next poet. I hope her throat is feeling better. I gave her some hot tea. Yeah. Good. Okay, our next poet is the lovely Infinite Sunshine.
Good evening. Oh, wow, you guys look amazing. It's awesome to see this room so full. I remember when we first started out, and you guys are trickling in, and that's awesome. I don't have a big introduction, so my name is Sunshine. I'm known as Sunshine. Here we go. I usually like to do this like conversational style. I'm gonna kind of be like just letting you into my mind, so just take it all in, all right? People say I'm a people person. I say, you must be late on an update. That's the outdated version. If I put this out, you know it ain't for clout. I'm here to run my mouth. Make some noise if you know what I'm talking about. Listen up, keep up. If you can't hear me, scoot your seat up, because what I say won't be repeated. I'm in control. I might alternate and delete it. But like she said, this is recorded and it's live. So later on, press rewind. But for now, enjoy the vibes, sit back, relax, and clear your mind. Let's thrive. I've arrived, and I don't have friends. Who you are to me depends, my peoples. I know my greatness. I know I'm a visionary with the ability to give people sight. I'm a healer, blessing people with love and light. I'm a nurturer. I provide comfort and peace. I guess you could say I'm some type of friend, a decent companion at the very least. When it comes to strength in the struggle, oh, I fight like a beast. And if you don't know me, you probably would never understand, but I am the best non-friend homie you've never had, because I am. FYI, my peoples are dying, left and right. Ain't got time to be playing with nobody's life, especially mine. The way I'm designed, my existence does not revolve around making you listen. Rather keeping my distance from things that can't withstand the journey. Got no room for gurneys, just burners and focus, protection from locusts and blood-sucking bugs. Ain't got shit but salt for slugs. If you can't pull through, then I'm pulling your plugs. I'm good and hood, not nice. I ain't got no free hugs. Since we're journeying through my mind, I want to let you know, I believe that mindsets are the things that you think about that make up your mind frame, which holds together the picture of your life. Spirit, lead me. Mamas is crying, babies is dying, politicians is lying, and my sisters is trying. Ain't no need in hiding, ain't no denying. The worst of times could be the best of times if you let yourself free your mind, because it's time to shine. Get out of line, leave the boxes behind. Minimize your baggage, because it's time to get savage. It's time for the ravage, time to take what's yours. Everybody off the bench. This is our home court. We came here to win. Forget keeping the score. This here is for our sons and daughters. We going on tour to raise a new world order. This is funny because I'm actually hoarse today, but I don't sing no more because my voice is hoarse. working hard to reach my goals, gotta stay the course. Not trying to buy no Tesla, Benz, or Porsche. Trying to buy a farm and live free with no remorse. Living off the land, growing food with our hands. Making our own rules, forget society's demands. Cause life is only hard when you living off the man. I packed my bags, got a rack, now it's time to execute my plans. So forget about partying and hanging with friends. If you want to live bigger, you got to get you some ends. Opportunity is here, got to widen your lens. Think big, little buddy. It's time to get you some money. I switch lanes with no shame. It's my life and I'm gonna get it. You can make money with bees and honey. It's time to get creative. Forget the naysayers and haters. I'm living out my dreams, as odd as it may seem. I got stuff I want to do, like build a palace for my kings. It might take me a while, but I'll hustle with a smile. Put some muscle to the grind, I meditate and clear my mind. Stay focused, watch the locusts, leeches, and the slugs. 'Cause sometimes it hurts, but put family first, and don't forget to self-love. I love God, and I make music because it's fun. He gave me the gift of gab, and I'm going to use it till it's done. I don't battle because I'd win. Don't seek vengeance because it's his. The laws of life written on my heart. He wrote the end before I started. He's with me at my best and even more when I'm a mess. From the beginning to end, he's my one and only friend. Won't do me dirty like my kin. His light shines through my skin. His spirit lives deep within. I never try to hide it. I love Jesus, can't deny it. If you think of checking me, check with him and G.O.D. The Holy Spirit set me free. Time to fulfill my destiny. So as I'm finishing this set and finishing this song, I hope you learn to right your wrongs. Thank you.
Great job, Sunshine. That was awesome. Okay, our next poet is a newbie to the Arts Council. I'm so excited to have her. Her name is Shelby Bruce. Please welcome Shelby.
How the hell am I gonna follow that? I don't know. I did not want to go after her. Thank you, Sunshine. Okay. I'm about to trauma dump on y'all, so buckle up, buttercups. All right. So this first one is called Apples and Trees. It's about mine and my mom's relationship. Oy, let's get into it. The very first memory I have, I was maybe 4 years old. I remember the overwhelming smell of mildew and the thick stench of cheap sex in the air. I remember 20 pairs of black beady stuffed animal eyes acknowledging my meek existence. I remember seeking shelter underneath a dark ping pong table covered in damp laundry piles to hide from the sounds of gargled moans from my mother's face being buried into a pillow in the next room. I remember not fully comprehending what was happening, but also knowing if I had gone in there that I would be embarrassed. I recollect befriending and seeking comfort in a wiry teddy bear that didn't belong to me. I recall my mom, sweaty, exiting from a flimsy basement door, noticeably ticked off, balancing her unmanicured hand on the ping pong table as she quickly put her shoes on. I remember the sudden rush of everything pushed and fast forward as she began barking orders at me. Get your shoes on, let's go. This was also the first time I felt anxiety flood my whole body. Leave the bear, she said, audibly annoyed. Her friend never even came out of the room to say goodbye. I think this is what set the precedence of mine and my mom's relationship. It's always been that tumultuous and frequently abusive struggle between the two of us. There's an old saying about apples and trees. It's the taunting one-liner my mom likes to drop to remind me that I'm her spawn. I am the subtly narcissistic and equally as unfashionable apple from my mother's slowly dwindling tree. I like to think that I get all my negative attributes from my mom. I think she'd agree. She's never been the consistent, nurturing mommy that I so needed. Don't get me wrong, she's had her shining moments, but majority of my life has been a mashup of the plots of The Hunger Games and Girl Interrupted. Growing up, my mother would put me through a series of tests that she referred to as missions. I would have to pass these in order to do normal kid stuff and ultimately win her approval. Go play on your quad, dodge the paintballs. As paintballs started whizzing past my face and welting me in my skinny arms, thighs, and sides, it didn't take me long to realize, fuck, she's really trying to hurt me. Playing on the quad used to be my favorite until the paintball made its frequent appearance. Paintball gun, made its frequent appearance. Then there was the introduction to the electric anti-barking dog collar. We had a Boston Terrier that didn't have a barking problem. So again, it didn't take me long to figure out that she had bought this with the full intentions of using it on me. She would sometimes put the shock collar around my neck and tie my arms behind my back and feet to this tall, black, pleather kitchen stool. She would poke me with sharp, pinchy objects, and I would yell, "Get shocked," and she would laugh. She enjoyed seeing me in pain. She loved it. She also got off on being in control. Later, she would up the ante and tie me up to the same tall, black, pleather kitchen stool and put me in a dark room and time me to see how fast I could escape it. There was no calling for help without the stinging bite from the collar. Mind you, if I had refused to do any of these missions, it was means for automatic grounding or just really fucked up mental tormentation and manipulation. I learned how to army crawl when I was 8 years old. That might not seem like a punishment for y'all, but for me it was. She would make these really difficult Ninja Warrior obstacle courses. Army crawl from here to the horse corrals, stand barefoot, and hold the electrocuting fence. It's okay, guys. I'm okay. If I showed any bit of fear, it was automatic name calling. "Just do it, you pussy." Wow, Shell, I didn't realize I fucking raised a wimp. I was a huge disappointment. Nothing was going to be good enough for her. But still, I would, with enthusiasm, stand barefoot in the puddle and grab hold of the electric fence. When we weren't home, my form of training was push-ups. If I wanted to have a sleepover at my best friend's house, or even something as minuscule as getting a Slurpee, the rule was drop and give me 50 or 75, 100. It all depended on her mood. I can't tell you how many times my hands have touched the floors of 7-Elevens, CVS's, Walmarts, etc. You name it. I sweated to earn something in any and all of these stores. She would motivate me the entire time too. "Come on, Shell, you got this. Halfway there, only 50 more. I'd be proud of myself too. I'm like 97, 98, 99, 100, as the force of her size 11 foot between my shoulder blades would push me down on 100. That crushing blow was always more humiliating than the last. Laughing at and taunting me, so close, but no cigar. I'd be sleeping home that night. No sleepovers for me. These started out as games that turned into punishments, and this sums up only a portion of the madness that was my adolescence. I'd like to think of myself as the apple that got away. One day, the wind blew just strong enough, and my apple fell. It went tumbling down a hill and landed aside a magical golden lake of happiness. Picturesque and pitiful, though, I know. Well, the drought hit, and the lake dried up, and the apple began to slowly rot in the scorching sun. A rodent came along and picked up my apple and brought it back into the shade of my mother's tree. A storm would hit, and I would go tumbling down the hill once more. So on and so forth, this would continue. This is my representation of never being able to escape her. But eventually I'd roll far enough away, sink into the ground, and grow my own tree. My mother and I have no relationship anymore. Thank God. She's everything I'm afraid of becoming. The manipulation has continued for years. The constant boundaries crossed became too much when I had my own daughters. I'm breaking generational curses. I don't know where everything went so wrong with us. I guess the truth is that nothing was ever right. I was born into this mayhem. I remember there was a time when I loved her more than anyone. My daughters will never know a love like that. She was my mom. I needed her. But my entire life, I've just tried to survive her. Until now, I'm finally free. Thank you. All right. Sorry, that was so deep and so much, but this next one is also about my mom being a psychopath, and but it's kind of funny. It's funny to me. It's called Chug the Beer, Don't Smoke the Cigarette. When I was 14, my mom, younger brother, and I went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, to visit my aunt and cousins for Thanksgiving. It was practically a family reunion. I have a huge family, so our gatherings have always been extremely colorful and the farthest thing from normal that you could ever imagine. I'm sure some of you can relate. It started out as a pretty awesome trip. My mom allowed me to drink beers with her and my aunts and older cousins, which made me feel so grown and cool. She was even cheersing me with beers. I felt like we were connecting. She started to get drunk, and I began to take advantage. As most teenagers do, I wanted to see how far I could push it. I started out with simple curse words, throwing out a, "Shit, I spilt my beer." No reaction. Nice. Then I got into my more racy vocabulary. My cousins started to throw down a beat, and I went in hard on a rap. First line, "A whore in bed, like war in bed." I looked at her. Okay, I got that past her. She was acting like my best friend. You could tell she was really enjoying herself, too. Further down in the rap, "You're like a motherfucking sewer bat. To get you off my dick, I got a flick touching that shit." She was eating up every word. "Wow, Shell. Where did that come from?" she said, impressed. It was a huge surprise, considering any time I had cursed, I had to put 3 pumps of Dawn dish soap on my tongue and sit there drooling bubbles while she laughed and taunted me about it. I just wanted her acceptance. I went on to pretending I was too drunk because my cousins started doing shots, and I was too scared. I was fake slurring my words and stumbling out of the garage into the kitchen. Yeah, I was that girl. I was 14, mind you. I really hadn't experienced any party culture. My super dysfunctional family was sitting in the kitchen, dining room area, watching 2 Girls, 1 Cup. If you know, you know, and if you don't look it up, if you plan on keeping any food down today. My aunt was going around with the camcorder filming everyone's reactions watching the horrific video. I'll never forget my grandma wide-eyed on Thanksgiving viewing this monstrosity of a film. Everybody laughed. The night ended with turkey comas. Well, the next day, we all woke up and got ready to head to old-time photos. I hopped in the car with my cousins while the parents all drove together. Within the 15-minute ride to the picture place, my instigator of an aunt had mentioned to my mother that I had partook in a cigarette. First of all, my mother doesn't like to be the last to know anything. She takes it as a personal attack. Weird, I know. We get out of the car and she has this look on her face, the look that screams, "Shelby Alexis, your life is about to end." And it's like one of these, I hate doing that face. I always knew how in trouble I was by the tone of her voice and the use of my middle name. I could see her jaw clenching under her closed, tightly scrunched mouth. "Did you smoke a cigarette last night?" She accused. As I opened my mouth to admit I had in fact smoked a cigarette, her open hand winds back, swings towards me, and slaps the life out of me. I was in shock. She got me good, too. My lip automatically swelled up. "You're so done. No friends, no phone, no life. When we get back, pack your shit." My face was sourpuss for the remainder of the day. We went on to get dressed into these musty, worn a million times, 5 sizes too big, old Western dresses. It took 2 clamps from Home Depot to hold my costume up. Now I was expected to smile and laugh with the rest of my cousins. I was mortified. Act like my best friend, blur the lines with alcohol, and gain my trust just to turn around and embarrass my existence for making a mistake. We're talking about someone with the emotional intelligence of a sociopath, okay? I don't even like cigarettes. She knew that. At the time, they grossed me out. Well, in this particular family portrait, I'm so sorry. Every member of my family had prop guns that we were all supposed to point towards my grandparents in the middle, acting like it was a stick up. It was supposed to be cute, I guess. Not me. I was staring down the barrel of a 45. In that moment, I wished the gun was real. How dramatic I was and how little she made me feel, I would have pulled it. This is how I've been my whole life. It's really no wonder that I can't keep up with my emotions. I've been groomed to suffer in my own being. I've never told anyone how I felt. Even therapists growing up, I was never fully honest with them. I was too afraid of being Baker acted into a psych ward like my mother before me. It feels so good to say it now that I'm out of it. Sometimes I feel like an outsider looking in on what has been my life thus far. It just feels so good to be out of it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelly. Thank you. Great job. Okay, I wanted to run down a couple of events we have in May here at the Arts Council. We have a lot of various programming that goes on here. May 7th, he just left the room. Josh Dickens, who's helping me with the sound and audio and lighting tonight, he's having an art show here. Josh is just one of the coolest people I know, actually, and is going to have a really unique art show, and I hope we'll tease it on social media so you guys can get a little taste of what to expect. But that's May 7th, and that's we always have our art shows on a Wednesday. And then the Full Bloom Film Festival is screening Harold and Maude on May 13th. Has anyone heard of that film? Classic cult film. It's about an 80-year-old woman who falls in love with an 18-year-old, and that's all I'm going to say. It's really unique. And then, I should also, did Josh come back? On April 28th is the Artist Escape, which is next Monday. That's a maker space that happens here at the Arts Council, and Josh will have all the materials that you'll need. He'll have like fiber arts, paints, sculpting. It's just kind of an open arms to the community and come in and for free make some art and meet some cool people. So those are a couple, and then we mentioned the street concert, which is May 17th. Please come and bring like 20 people with you. We want to have a full street. Okay, and that's pretty much what's going on in May. All right, are you guys ready for your next poet? His name is Thomas Alexander.
I'm getting paid to wear all this South Carolina garb, just so you know. Now, I've been down there 5 years, and I've been doing a lot of research, but I haven't been doing a lot of like creative writing. So I found some things that were interesting, though, and so I'll share those next. But before I do, I want to read a poem that I did write recently. It's called "I Between." And I was thinking, like, I like the space between things. Anyway, so the name of the poem is "I Between." I like the spaces in between being old and young, between day and night, between the mountains and the beach, between the creek and the road, between Ireland and Northern Ireland, between the North and the South, between Mr. Anderson and Mr. Roberts on Big Pine Creek, in between deadlines, in between faith and doubt, in between love and attraction, in between the smoke and the fire, in between the sun and the moon, in between my friends and my enemies, in between the sheets and my blanket, in between life and death, in between freedom and jail, in between fascism and democracy, in between paint and the canvas, in between black and white, in between happiness and sadness, in between my brother and my sister, in between the church and the theater, in between the mountains and the jungle, in between two books that I'm reading at the same time, in between paychecks, in between truth and lies, in between buying and selling, in between two cars in traffic, in between sex and desire, in between fiction and fantasy, in between two books on a shelf, in between a dream and awake, in between subconscious and conscious, I between wake up. Okay, so what I'm going to share next are some very short passages, some research I've done. So I'm writing about the jungle narratives, like the time like 1920s when the rubber trade was going on. I'm writing about some books that were written in Spanish and Portuguese. I'm a Spanish instructor. I'm getting my PhD in comparative literature, which looks at like literature written in another language. So some of these I'm going to share with you because one of them was in Portuguese and I translated it to English. Another work was in Spanish and French, and so it's not even available in English, a little passage. So I figured that there might be texts that you might not have heard of or wouldn't see in the future. So this is a description of the jungle. So in the 1920s, mostly what you had were Western European men who were coming from gardens like Versailles and Paris, very like organized gardens, and they encounter this jungle, right, the Amazon. And so here's one from, it's a romance novel by Gastão Cruz. He's from Brazil. It's a small passage. Gigantic kapok trees, Herculean burrows, majestic cedars opening their branches at the top made the crossing of the massive jumbo of greenery which shed vague lights, leaving the recess of the forest in a greenish twilight. There, in a silent but constant fight, the endless legion of other vegetation, pressed together, mutinous, portentous trees, confusing roots and saps in the difficult conquest of the ground, secular lettuce costs covered by constricting vines, thick canopies intertwined with monstrous vines, forks studded with caragoatas and parasites, thick thickets of palm trees, shadowy tufts of foliage. And then this is a passage from a guy who became the president of Colombia, South America, but he and his brothers traveled through the Amazon. One brother died of malaria. One got eaten by the indigenous people, the carnivores. And so he survived. He had like 10 trips to the jungle. And this is where he's talking about the experience of the mosquitoes. It's kind of, so you can think of like a little bit of like horror, fantasy in these images. But it says, the worst was not the temperatures, which were more than 45 degrees centigrade without any shade, nor the tiredness of rowing alongside the indigenous, nor the lack of food, nor the fear of getting eaten by cannibals. It was the nights, having to sleep on the beaches of the rivers, on top of the burning sand, charred by the sun, under which we had to build a sepulchre and cover ourselves with sand, leaving only our noses exposed, just as the natives have done, to free ourselves from the mosquito bites that are plentiful. One could say they form an atmosphere. They fill the air and make it dark. Closing your hands, a huge mass of mosquitoes would form. At dawn, the mosquitoes would disappear. We would leave our cocoons, improvised, that we slept naked, covered in a mortar of sand and sweat that had hardened on our skin with the coldness of the morning. So thank you. So this is like, I would call like old poetry, and it's really not poetry, it's prose, but I think the way it reads sounds like poetry. So I got one more, and then I'll be done. Is that okay? Am I good for the time? Okay. So this is The Vortex. It's a novel written by Jose Eustacio Rivera. It just celebrated its 100th anniversary, and I was in Bogota last summer doing research and on this book, and got to see a work of theater of this being performed in Bogota. In fact, it was so popular they're going to do it again this summer, I think. So really great like theater, but it's a book. And so they're in the jungle. This man's captured this woman, and he's gone with these like rubber workers and kind of like questionable border characters. They're selling stuff they shouldn't be selling. Anyway, so they encounter this scene. Like crawling octopus, the matapolar, or tree killer vine, attaches its tentacles to the great vertical trunks, twisting and penetrating the bark, grafting itself into the living flesh of its hosts. injecting its dominance and purpose in a painful transmigration of spirits. The spreading drapery of vines accumulates a detritus of years, a compost of rotting leaves, sticks, and fruit that occasionally showers to the ground in the form of dirt and fungus, mixed with salamanders, blind reptiles, and spiders. Trillions of devastating Bachakera ants ascend the forest canopy to trim it and then march back to their underground colonies along miniature highways kept clear down to the dirt, carrying their trimmings of leaf and flower like tiny banners of destruction. Termites sicken and kill the trees like some kind of galloping syphilis that conceals its deadly progress. The termites invade and destroy a trunk until the weight of its spreading leafy branches suddenly shatters the healthy wood that remains, and down comes an enormous portion of green sky, and yet each death renovates the earth. The decay of the fallen giant and light from the newly opened canopy combine to encourage germination and sprouting. Pollen swirls in the miasmas of decomposing organic matter. The smell of ferment is the breath of both purification and procreation. Here one encounters no enraptured nightingales, no poetic flowers or butterflies, no babbling brooks or sentimental panoramas. This garden cannot be compared to the geometric landscaping of Versailles. How poor is the imagination of poets who only know the domesticated version of nature. Here, croaking toads and murky, foul-smelling backwaters. Here, poisonous epiphytes whose aphrodisiac attractions create a pile of dead bees on the ground beneath them. Here, a diversity of repugnant flowers that palpitate like sexual organs and exude an odious fragrance that intoxicates like a drug.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we are down to our last poet of the night. She's an Iredell Arts Council board member. She's a very talented poet and a very talented visual artist. And I want to welcome Shani to the stage.
How we doing? Good. All right, hanging in there. I'll just jump right into it this time. This poem is called The Body That Housed My Father. Sturdy and reliable in its fragility, holding space for daughters and spirits, no place for glitter but full of empty rooms where ghosts gallivant and call the names of mothers who live in silent prayers. Boys who scream out for permanence before they turn into mist or memory, a walking warning of what's to come when healing becomes suggestion instead of priority. My father's body held grief like a remedy for living, and his father gathered bouquets of betrayal and indecision, handed them down to his children who grew tulips from their tongues, learned to create gardens from thorns lining throats. Blood spills from mouths that choke on curated secrets, and my father's body is a song. He never quite learned the words to, but his daughter carries the melody in her alabaster chest, and the lyrics will shatter expectations as they escape her lips, and she sings and grieves forgiveness to eternal freedom. Let's get a little happier, I guess, you know. This poem is, of course, untitled. I tried to not do that tonight, but oh well. You hold my body like it is the last good thing to be found in this life, and I am weightless. As you pull me back to center, I do not wish to escape your orbit for false promises of planetary alignment. I will create a galaxy with you here and name the planets all the reasons I will not run, or the ways in which you love me into metaphysical healing. My love, the state of us oscillates, and I am born into new oceans under the moonlight. My tides are in awe of you, how you lead the dance when I am unable to conjure up my two left feet into steady motion. Your ebb and flow feels like home on the nights my grief felt like machetes in my chest. You turn the blades into blossoming gardenias, and this is how we love. Birthing daffodils from our mouths, everything floats toward the sun on the exhale, but in your arms, I do not fear burning these wings into mere feathers. We risk inundation after the fall. This is about depression, but it's okay. There's always light after the darkness, so it's all right. And the morning arises in my chest, covers my heart in grief and cradles tombstones in my lungs. Every breath is the name of a lover morphed into ash in memory. It is a familiar haunting, a story of what ifs and could have beens travel my throat and remain trapped behind my teeth. And I barely made it out of bed, stained in tears. This aching song drowns out the happy and refuses to call me by name instead of girl or pity or full of woe. I prick my skin to remind myself of the grounding when rainbows hollow out the clouds lined in hues of scarlet. And blessed be the pills that hold my joy in their hands and don't allow it to crumble. The sadness feels like home, and I am in a constant state of escaping. And there are days this empty would turn me into walking suicide note instead of my mother's prayers for her daughter to live a life not tainted by shame or hurt. But today, I am a field of tulips. I bloom and beg not to be picked by the depression that walks my bones. My stem and spine are a lifeline extending to God, and this place is the same, but it is me that is different, unafraid of the nightmare that I will shapeshift into the greatest story ever told. So the last poem that I want to share is one that I may have shared before, but for some reason, it's on my heart to share it. So it's a love poem, and it's called Savior. You wear your trauma like a badge of honor, afraid of healing that doesn't taste like blood. Iron fists permeate your throat, and your voice is crushed in the hands of lost lovers who manipulated their way into a heaven, ignoring a jealous God in your heart. How you used to believe in fairy tales and happy endings, unconditional love that burns broken boundaries, building better blockades to keep the hurt out. I know these things and still love you like the scent of new everything. Fresh and renewed, I want to master this life with you. I don't set out to be your hero, but I will hold you on the days you grow tired from healing yourself. And I'm not afraid of your nightmares or tears. I seek your life in the washing away of fears. And I make you a promise to be present, to appreciate the minutes morphed into memorable moments, how to be captured by your wings and never consider the possibility of falling more than flight. Lady of the land, woman of womb in cerulean skies, allow me to give myself to you. I release the hurricane I was to become the perfect storm. 1,000 stars are born in my mouth when I whisper your name. A galaxy of beauty trickles from my tongue, and your love is a language I will spend a lifetime learning. And on the days you feel more supernova than superhuman, I will collect the remnants of your rising and present them as a reminder of your wonder. And I will not wander when the honeymoon is over. I will attempt to understand your bad days, how they are not outnumbered by the good, and if they were, then I would still tend to you. I will bandage your wounds, swallow the black hole in your heart until it becomes light again, and the sun crawls from my throat. It carries your dawn in its back pocket, keeps it safe enough to believe in when encouraging words leave my lips. I am no savior. But on the days you cannot save yourself, I will lean into the darkness for you, with you. We escape this barren land to plant the seed of companionship that does not die. My partner in crime, in life, in this love that shatters earth and builds breast and bone of nurturing. What a selfish song I sang before this divine duet. And I thank the universe for you, for teaching me to swim more than I sink alone in my own safety. Thank you.
All right, guys, what do you guys think of the talent in Iredell County, right? Yeah, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Get plugged into the Arts Council. We have a lot going on. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming.